Thank you, and thank you, Chairwoman Eshoo and Ranking Member Burgess and all the staff for all the work that went into holding this hearing of this committee. And I appreciate all the effort that's gone into all of the attention that we're putting forth to healthcare, both at the staff level and at the member level, and certainly for the advocates in the community as well. Thank you so much for your diverse perspectives on what's important to the health and well-being of all Americans. I think while the legal arguments and implications of this case are important, I want to take a few minutes to focus on very personal threats posed by these attacks to the Affordable Care Act. This ruling, if upheld, would take away health care for tens of millions of Americans, including our most vulnerable, especially children and seniors. They're especially at risk, and people with pre-existing conditions. We would see them just be dropped from the ability to get health care. For some of this, this is literally a life and death situation, and as lawmakers, I hope that we don't lose sight of the fact of how critical this is, and as the lawmakers for this country, I hope that we can move expeditiously with making sure that we can figure out a way to not allow the courts to determine the future and the fate of millions of Americans when it comes to their health care and health care access. Also, I want to thank everybody who's here today. And also that the court's ruling would ideologically and politically, follow through with the motivation that I believe that close to 70 times or so in this Congress, there was an effort to end it, not mend it, when it comes to the Affordable Care Act. And I think it's inappropriate for us to look at it in such a black and white manner. There are cause and effects should the Affordable Care Act go away. I happen to be personally one of those individuals that through a portion of my childhood did not have true access to health care, and it's the kind of thing that no parent should go through, and it's the kind of situation that no American should ever have to contemplate waiting until that dire moment where you have to go to the emergency room instead of just looking forward to the opportunity to, sticking out your tongue and asking the doctor questions, and they ask you questions, and they find out what is or is not wrong. And that's the kind of America that used to be. And since the Affordable Care Act, imperfect as it is, that is not the America of today. The America of today means that if a young child has asthma, that family can, in fact, find a way to get an equal policy of health care, just like their neighbor who doesn't have a family member with a pre-existing condition. So with that, I'd like to, with the short balance of my time, ask Ms. Hung, could you please expand on the uncertainty that you've already described that your family would face should this court decision end the Affordable Care Act as we know it? And then also, could you please share with us, are you speaking only for you and your family, or is this something that perhaps hundreds of thousands, if not more, American families would suffer that fate that you are describing?
Thank you. I'm here on behalf of many families like mine, the Little Lobbyists families, or families with
dozens or thousands?
Thousands across the country. Families with children with complex medical needs and disabilities. And these protections that we're talking about today, they're not just for these children, they're for everyone. They're for everybody. Any one of us could suddenly become sick or disabled with no notice whatsoever. Any one of us could go suddenly from healthy to unhealthy with no notice and have a pre-existing condition. An accident can happen, a cancer diagnosis, a sick child. There is no shame in being sick. There's no shame in being disabled. Let's not penalize that. There's no shame in Xiomara needing a ventilator to breathe or needing a wheelchair to go to the playground. But there is shame in allowing insurance companies to charge her more money just because of it, more for her care. And there's shame in allowing families like mine to file for bankruptcy because we can't afford to care for our children. It is that uncertainty that is being taken away or at risk right now. Our families are constantly thinking about that while we're at our children's bedside.
I just want to state with the balance of my time that this court case could be the most destructive thing that could have ever happened in American history when it comes to the life and well-being of American citizens. I yield back the balance of my time.